The next day, I attend red magic class and realize that it was another one of Professor Grabiner's classes. I wonder if he'll notice that I'm not going to be showing up to blue magic class anymore. But then again, he probably doesn't waste time thinking about his students' schedules. "Get to your seats," he commands. "Hurry up! No chatter. In this class, carelessness might cost you your fingers." I pause as he smirks to himself. He wouldn't really cut off students' fingers, would he? "Here, you will be learning the seductive art of red magic, the evocation and control of energy. With this power, you might summon a breeze, light a fire, or call a distant object to hand. I say that it is seductive, not because of its power, but because simple minds prefer simple solutions. Blast your enemies with lightning. Tear buildings apart with earthquakes. Let the world around you burn. Fall victim to such vulgar fantasies, and you leave yourself vulnerable to those capable of creative thought. There are many approaches that direct force cannot defend against." He snaps his fingers in the air. "One inattentive moment and you lose control of the forces you have summoned. After that, you will only be remembered as an unpleasant stain on the walls." He rubs his hands together and gives a nasty smile. "Now, for today's lesson." I don't learn any new spells, but at least I felt like I had started to learn the fundamentals of red magic. Then again, with Professor Grabiner teaching, I couldn't help but pay attention. If I answered a question wrong, I risked being called an imbecile in front of the entire class. On Wednesday, I head to green magic. When I arrive at the classroom, I find Professor Potsdam standing by the chalkboard. "Hello, little seedlings," she says warmly. "Please take your seats. Today, you're going to learn about green magic, the magic of life. This is a very important skill for any witch or wizard to have, especially when you get to be a certain age. Your body is a garden to be cared for. With proper tending, it could last you for centuries. Slowly, carefully, you must encourage your subjects to grow in the direction you prefer. Be patient, and the rose vines will lose their thorns and twine around you." One of the students scoffs. "If it can heal, it can kill. What happens if you force something to grow the wrong way? Quickly." Professor Potsdam looks troubled. "Why would you want to do that?" "Because you don't like the life in front of you," the boy replies. "Well, if that's your plan, I can look forward to working with you for a very long time," Potsdam replies smoothly. "Life has its own flow. You can change it, but the harder you push, the more energy you'll need. To cause a great change in an instant takes immense power. So you'd better get started." I'm not sure what that was about, but green magic seems like it could be interesting. I feel apprehensive about attending black magic class the next day. The only thing I knew about black magic was from what I read about in popular culture. Would we be summoning zombies? "Good morning," Professor Potsdam says. "Has everyone got a smock or an apron? There are plenty in the back of the room for anyone that still needs one." Aprons? What are we going to do with those? For those of you who are new to our magical traditions, I should reassure you that black magic has nothing to do with death or evil. There's no such thing as evil magic. There's only magic. The bad and the good come from how you choose to use it. Black is the color of weight, solidity, and permanence. Black magic is the magic of enchantment in physical form. All wands and things like that are created with black magic. This does mean that cursed items are enchanted with black magic as well. That might be how people got the wrong idea. A pale girl with dark hair raises her hand. Yes, Raven? Since you're enchanting matter and bones are matter, you could use black magic to animate a skeleton, right? Raven asks. That's an interesting question, Potsdam replies, not fazed in the slightest. You could certainly enchant a skeleton to hold a spell or react in some way. You could set a skull to chatter its jaw when anyone came near, like an alarm. But to make something that could walk around and act on its own, you'd need to bind a spirit to it, and that calls for another kind of magic. We will get to combined techniques later in the year. Now, one of the easiest ways to infuse magic into a physical substance is to mix things together in liquids called potions. And that's what we'll be starting with. Always remember to wear a smock or an apron. Potion stains can ruin your uniform. We spend the rest of class making potions. It's almost like following a recipe, but it's not as much fun as I hoped it would be. That afternoon, I need to make up my mind about whether or not to run for class office. I still don't know exactly what the jobs involve, other than working with the teachers. And that means spending time with Professor Grabiner, since he was responsible for overseeing the treasury position. It could help me get on his good side, or it could give him more opportunities to make my life more miserable. That's if I can actually win the election, of course. I've never been in an election before. I don't think I have any enemies in the freshman class, but I don't think that I'm popular either. Ultimately, I decide to run for treasurer. I submit my name to Professor Potsdam and decide to wait and see what happens. On Friday morning, I arrive at white magic class to see Professor Potsdam standing by the chalkboard. Good morning, Starshines, she says. You'll need to sit down before we can start, but take your time. Relax. Get comfortable. That's very important when working with this particular style of magic. Taking her at her word, I yawn and stretch before I settle into my seat. To some people, white is the absence of color, a blank canvas. In the non-magical world, white is a complete spectrum, all colors combined into one. In some ways, you could think of white magic as either of these things. White magic is the tool you use to access the spiritual realm. Ghosts, dreams, creatures from other planes, the thoughts of those around you. With white magic, you can experience and communicate with things that are normally hidden. There is one thing I need to warn you about. Some people have tried to use white magic to control minds and spirits instead of asking for their aid. Don't do it. You will regret it. Now, shall we go on with the lesson? I pause. What sort of warning is that? Does she mean it won't work? Or that we'll be expelled? Or arrested? Or our brains will melt? Or what? Maybe she'll tell us more later. That afternoon, I head back to the room to see that Virginia and Ellen are already in there. So, Virginia says to her, are you going to do it? I don't think... Oh, come on, Virginia goads. I'm not the sort of person... Pfft. Virginia turns to me as I close the door behind me. Tori, are you going to run for treasurer? Yeah, I am. Yippee! Virginia cheers. Now I can tell that spoiled brat to kiss my... Hey! Ellen warns. Sorry. Virginia laughs. I've got to go make plans. As she leaves the room, Ellen sits on her bed and brushes back her hair. Such a strange thing to get so worked up over. Well, she is very competitive, I reply with a shrug. If it really matters so much, she ought to do it herself instead of trying to get everyone else to do it for her. I shrug. I suppose. Do you think her brother will do what she says? Promote someone just because she wants him to? Probably. She's his baby sister. He looks out for her. He's so sweet, Ellen says, although it seems like she's talking more to herself than to me. Oh, he is he? Ellen, have you got a crush on William? I ask playfully. What? No, maybe. She sighs and flops back onto the bed. Yes. There's nothing wrong with that, I remind her. Okay, you like William. So what's the problem? He's cute. He's responsible. He's a good student. He's popular, Ellen replies. So? So he could have any girl he wants. And he would never want a girl like me. Guys want someone pretty who likes makeup and dancing and pouts until she gets her way. Jenny's not even 13 yet, and she's already got boys chasing her. Boys think of me as just a rock with hair, a useless fuzzy lump. William is nice. He would never. If you like him, you should tell him. No! What's the worst that can happen? He says no, then you know, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. And what if he likes you and you're just wasting time not knowing it? That's not very likely, Ellen mutters. You'll never know unless you try, I say, smiling encouragingly at her. We're horses. We're supposed to be daring. You're cute and clever and sweet. You're not hopeless. Maybe he likes you. Maybe he doesn't. There's only one way to find out. I'll think about it, Ellen says, and I let her go back to doing her homework. As I try to get around to my own work, though, I can't help but think about Ellen. It must be hard to have a crush on someone and be terrified of being rejected. Fortunately, I haven't developed a crush on someone like that yet. At least the year had only just begun. I was here because I wanted to learn magic. There would be plenty of time for romance after I graduated.